We've been running the petition SaveTheQueen.ca for a few days now, and thousands of Canadians have signed up. I want to bring in my friend Ray Hurd to talk about this now. Ray, let's get this out of the way. In case anyone hasn't figured out that you're not a limey, your accent is not English. It is from where?
South Africa, but South Africa, which is now a proud member of the Commonwealth, like Canada. So in Canada, and I came to Canada in 1962, Brian, Canada is, whether we like it or not, the head of state of Canada is Her Majesty the Queen, and I think she's been a good queen. I think her son, Charles, is a bit of a clown, but I think her grandson, William, could be a great king, and so we'll see what happens.
What do you make then of this move almost immediately, and we'll find out in coming days whether it was Justin Trudeau or Citizen of France, Stéphane Dion, or the bureaucrats themselves at Foreign Affairs, to take down the portrait of the Queen and put up the paintings by Alfred Pellin? I say there's no reason there isn't room for all three of them.
Oh. But also, the two works of so-called art they have replaced it with are by a Quebec artist. One, I think, is of Quebec, the other somewhere out west. They are not particularly good works of art.
I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan, but I'd be told, well, you're just, you don't know artwork then.
Well, guys like Don Cherry would agree with you. Esoteric so-called intellectuals would probably say they are great works of art. That's a subjective matter. But the other important thing to remember is that Justin, like his father, I think is no great fan of the monarchy. I remember when I was a young reporter, when Pierre Trudeau did a pirouette, when he had just met the Queen, who is, whether you like it or not, the Queen of Canada. And I think that in Ontario and the West, this will not go down well. It may be applauded in Quebec, and there are some non-Quebecers who are Republicans. I'm not a great fan of the monarchy, but it's the best thing we've got, and I think there's no substitute, short of making Don Cherry, King of Canada.
Yeah, there'd be a lot of votes for that. Look, like you, I'm not a big monarchist, but what do we replace it with? My fear, if we were to open up the Constitution and say, let's bring in something else, is we would end up with a bizarre Constitution that doesn't reflect the political tradition that we take from Britain. It would be a mess. We'd be the Soviet Socialist Republic of Kazakhstan, and that's why I've moved towards saying, let's keep the monarchy and keep things as they are.
And I think most Canadians would agree with me when I say Queen Elizabeth has done a good job. She's never really taken sides. Charles has tried to go green and try to boss people around about architecture and things, but she's been a good monarch. She has a dysfunctional second generation. The third generation seems okay. But the other thing is that because they are non-political, they are better symbols of the state than a political party. And I think one of the reasons that they removed those paintings, landscapes I think they are, from the headquarters of External Affairs,
well, it's global affairs now.
Yeah, but Stephen Harper was, as you know, he was a monarchist. He said it was the Royal Canadian Navy, the Royal Canadian Air Force. So I think they're taking a bit of a shot at the legacy of Stephen Harper. And I think that Harper did a good job. We are a member of the Commonwealth in which all nations are theoretically equal, although the Brits always think they are more equal than others. So there we have it. And it's not going to help Justin. And the other thing is, why did they do it so soon? Why did they just do it by surprise? The reason they did it by surprise, they might have thought they could get away with this trick, but they're not getting away with it.
The bureaucrats were ecstatic and tweeting out photos right away. This, of course, just days after they were cheering Justin. Let me ask you about this. All through Stephen Harper's time in office, we kept being told, oh, he's trying to remake Canada because he would bring things back from the past, or he would remind Canadians of their history. In my mind, it's not Stephen Harper. It's been the Liberals. I mean, this push by the Liberals to say Canada was never a country of warriors, that we were always peacekeepers, even though that didn't really take off until the 1960s. Started in the 50s, took off in the 60s. Well, hold on, Ray. And now we've got Mélanie Joly as Heritage Minister telling the Globe and Mail that she is the Minister of Symbols and that it's good to be in charge of the symbols of progressivism. It sounds like they want to remake Canada in the party's image.
Yes, and that reminds us, Justin has said publicly he admires dictatorships like China and Cuba. I think it's wrong. I think Harper, he made a lot of mistakes. He was too remote. He was too distant. But I do feel, Brian, that this will not play well at the grassroots of Canada. The elitists in Ottawa at the Rideau Club and the civil servants will think it's a great ideal. But when you look at what the grassroots feel, and they've done it just before Remembrance Day, by the way, and those Canadians who died in 2 world wars and Korea and Afghanistan, the dead, as they're called in John McCrae's wonderful poem in Flanders Field, We Are the Dead. These people were serving Her Majesty or His Majesty, the King or the Queen of Canada when they perished or got wounded.
All right, Ray, good talking as always, and encourage everyone to sign the petition. If you agree with Ray, if you agree with me, sign the petition at SaveTheQueen.ca. Let your voice be heard, and we will take that petition to Parliament when they reconvene.